Hey ladies, what's up? Happy Thursday, Friday Eve. I am Charmaine Johnson Fuller, the life strategist with the Charms Life. How are you all doing this morning? So, as you see, the title, excuse me, is all about figuring it out on your own. Today, I'm talking about figuring it out on your own. Over the past couple of weeks, I've met some fabulous women, some really boss ass, bad ass mama bears that are not only changing the world with what they do and how they show up and serve, but they're also supporting these phenomenally neurodivergent families. And that is a lot. It is a lot to not only, give me just one moment. Okay. So it's a lot to not only um be an entrepreneur. Like that's one caveat, right? Being an entrepreneur by itself is one of the most insane acts that any of us can embark on because nothing about entrepreneurship is logical. Nothing goes in a straight line. We go like this. There's so many different twists and turns. The same thing when you're parenting a child that has superpowers, whatever that superpower is. You know, they're a bit quirky. They're not fitting into the normal box of you being able to add water and stir or finding a certain set of directions, or they need some more touches than what the neurotypical child would need. I honest to godly think that every kid is neurodivergent, but we like to stick our kids into these boxes. Um, so I just don't necessarily help moms that have typical special needs kids. I end up working with moms that have kids that are considered to be genius. I work with moms whose kids may have some medical needs. I work with moms whose kids may or may not be considered conventionally verbal yet. So I work with moms on our kids that don't even have a diagnosis, but there's just something that they do. They may have a sensory processing or delay or challenge, whatever it is that for me, special needs just does not mean having the typical diagnosis and having um what because I'm quirky. So kids are just a little bit quirky, a little bit different that need some support. Anywho, now that that's out of the way. So in meeting some of these moms as of late, one of the reoccurring themes that I'm seeing as I'm talking to them is they all, not all, many of them think that there's this one magic shot bullet, this one thing that they're going to be able to do that is going to allow everything to shift. That if they had the hack, that this would shift. If they could get the child to do X, things would shift. That if they could, whatever that magic bullet is for them, if they can get a weekend away, that it would shift. And I'm not saying that these things would not be helpful. Like that would be kind of delusional. Like, yes, of course, these things would be helpful and would possibly help them to see the bigger possibilities that are at play and the things that they need in their life. However, that is just a piece as to the underlying chaos that's often going on when I talk to these women, when I break things down. um it often, what they see on the surface is often and it's just the surface bubbling of what's going on underneath. And so because we're off, like I've done this before, because you're so caught in the external of things, what happens is that you stay trying to fix that external. You stay trying to fix that external and trying to make that external look how you want it to look, that you're not paying attention to what's bubbling underneath. And so what often happens in these situations is that you fix the external. the external now looks nice, but then that surface, that underbelly is still bubbling up. And so then it manifests into another set of external circumstances. I hope that makes sense. And so in talking to these women and just getting a feel for what it is they're looking to create and what it is they're looking to have, let me ask you a question. I love asking questions. I love giving you things to think about. I don't know why. Okay. I love giving you things to think about. What do you feel would make your life better? What is the one magic thing that, if that happened, because it feels impossible, it doesn't feel impossible because sometimes when we think of that one magic thing, it feels impossible. What is that one magic thing that you say, if this happens, then everything else is going to fall into place? I want you to think about that. And I want you to be really clear about what you think that thing is for you. See, what happens when we think that way, and I'm going to give you a little nugget. What happens when we think that way, when we have those thoughts of fixing an external thing, is that we start looking for these external solutions. We don't want to repair the internal stuff that maybe we've been battling. And we don't want somebody else to tell us to do that either. And so we go on this search and we start taking workshops and, you start doing all these things that you think is going to fix that problem. And then it just ends up causing more stuff because now you're trying to learn some stuff and you're doing all these other things that has you all over the place. And so that's one of the number one things, when I work with women, what I have encountered is what I see. And a lot of the spaces that I'm in, what I see is I just need to find the magic bullet. And once I find the magic bullet, then I'm good. And when I first started coaching, I was giving out the magic bullet. Here's the caveat. Women would take it and they would be good for about a month. But the number one thing that kept them overwhelmed, even though I had given them that magic bullet, even though I had given them the answer, even though in many of the videos that I do, the magic bullet is always there. Distraction. This life is built to distract. So even though the question that I asked you, I said, okay, what is that magic bullet? What is that thing that would happen? You could get that today. But because the structure isn't set up necessarily, because you don't have the support or the accountability pieces to help you stay focused, what happened is that you fix that, but then more external stuff comes in to distract you. And so then you get off track. It's just like, what is it? November 4th. It's just like the blessed New Year's resolution goals, right? The most famous New Year's resolutions goal is what? To lose weight, for people to lose weight. Completely different conversation, but I'm going to go off on a tangent for a bit. So the favorite one is to lose weight. And so many people go off on this journey of losing weight, which is not just about losing weight. It's about your mindset. And so losing weight isn't just about you. And I hate saying losing weight because whatever you lose, you find. So releasing weight isn't just about the food you eat. It isn't just about the amount of exercise that you do. It isn't just about those two things, what you eat and the amount of exercise you do and whatever diet program you're following. It's mindset. I did a video on my personal page about my own journey with my health and releasing weight and everything like that. And how I begin to notice, because as I'm shifting mindset and as I'm working with coaches, that whenever I get closer to my desired body type, I do something to sabotage it. And I realized I was chasing the feeling of being bloated because the foods that I were eating were causing me to bloat. And so, because I had used this for years to signify me being full, I can't eat anymore because now I'm too bloated. So then I would use that as full. Now that I'm on this cleaner eating path and I'm eating different things that are sustaining and fueling my body, yet they don't leave me feeling bloated, I would go forward looking for foods to make me feel bloated. I would keep eating until I felt bloated and then wonder why I wasn't hitting my goals. It's the same thing in every other area of life. What happens is, like, I was working with a client recently. This was dope AF. I was working with her, and um we were talking about some mindsets. We were talking about a specific mindset around her business. We had already untangled things with her babies and already had gotten those things in alignment and moving. But then as she cleaned that up, she noticed that there was this block. Whenever things were going great in her family, she was like, they're not going so great in my business. Charmaine, what's up? Like, my family is finally at this space where I can put a little bit more energy into my business to begin to build it how I want to build it. What's going on? So we got to digging. I'm asking her questions, blah, blah. We were going through the gambit. Come to find out, because she had been so used to building her business from a space of stress and overwhelm and always worrying about her family, when it came to the space of her not having to do that, she was at a block. She didn't know how to build from a space of expansiveness, from a space of being present, from a space of actually being able to fully engage in her business. She didn't know how to do that. That was like, wait a minute, something's wrong. I'm not doing, and she would just freeze. So that was a nugget. But that's because I have accountability through a coach. She's working with a coach. And so having someone to be able to allow you to see those distractions and things that come into play as you're reaching towards your goal. Because again, it's really easy to set a goal. I mean, that's one of the easier parts, is to set a goal. But is that goal in alignment with where you are now? There's certain questions to make sure that the goal you're setting isn't delusional. I give the example a lot of working with a business coach, or even working with me per se. And let's say you have a child that is nonverbal and has some behavioral issues. And what you want ultimately is, you would like for them to be able to communicate in some way, shape, or form. And you would like for the meltdowns to stop. But you want this to happen in 6 months. Boo, that's delusional. That if they're nonverbal, it's not saying it's not possible, but it's a bit delusional. Could it happen? Yeah, it could happen. But the amount of work that you would have to be willing to put in, the amount of therapy that you would have to be willing to take them to every day in relation to the rest of your life, is delusional. And a lot of moms set up these goals for their kids. I want this behavior to stop. I want my kids to start doing their own laundry. I want, I need for my family life to be stable so I can finally do my business. And the time frames they set for this are so out of whack with where their entire life is, not just where that particular area is. When you're looking at goals by yourself, you often forget about all of the other pieces and players that are in this game that's called life. And so you tend to go, okay, well, I can go from 0 to 100 in 2.5 seconds, and all the rest of my life areas are not being supported. That's not going to happen. What's going to end up happening is that you're going to try to go full throttle on this life area. I know, because I've done it. I have seen clients do it. I have seen it happen in people's life. You're going to try to go full throttle on this area and only focus in on one thing, and then wonder why either you are burned out in 2 weeks, or when you finally get it together, now you have another fire to put out. Charmaine, why do I have to keep putting out fires? Why does it always feel like I'm putting out fires? I get one area of my life together and bam, I got something else I got to put out. How do you get to that space? How do you get to that space of um, flow? How do you get to that space of your life being in harmony with each other? How do you get to that space where your life is balanced out and where it's going good, no matter what storms or things are going on around you? How do you get that to move and flow in your life? That's what coaching is for. That's precisely what coaching is for. We are not meant to do this alone. Yes, there is a significant amount of work that you are going to have to do in order to make this work. But this world is too noisy and too busy for us to expect, especially as we're changing belief systems and we're busting up paradigms and we're changing how we do things. Your brain is going to give you a holy battle. It's going to be a holy battle to change that. It is. In the beginning, it always feels like fun because you're excited and okay, and I'm going to make this change and I can do this myself. I don't need to hire a fitness coach. I don't need to hire a life strategist. I don't need to hire a business coach because I have all of the steps right here and I can do it myself without fail. What I know for sure, what I could put money on is that all of us have started off with that space. We've all started out with that, right? I don't need a coach. I don't need to do this. I got this on my own. Yeah. Girls on the grind. Yep, yep, yep. Mama boss. Yep, yep. I got this. And we put these big, beautiful goals up on Facebook and we make these boards. And oh my gosh, it's so exciting. And then life happens. That old belief system comes back. And without the right support, there's no amount of free videos, free workshops, none of that that's going to be able to help you to combat that belief system because it's so ingrained. And it's so easy to get distracted and it's so easy to get off course for just a little bit and say, I'm going to come back later. And before you know it, it's November 4th. Oh shit, I was supposed to be working on my money. I was supposed to be working on, getting my child into gen ed classes all day. I was supposed to be working on my business and I still have the same 3 clients. Like, what the fuck? This was a goal at the beginning of the year. What's going on? You lost focus. You allowed the distractions to come in, but don't beat yourself up. This is how the game was designed, was to keep you distracted. And so this is why it's so important to have support. I want you to grab my free case study on how you can get out of overwhelm hell without adding on extra shit to do. Without adding extra shit to do in your life. Honestly, it's about taking shit out. So the case study is perfect. You go to workwithcharmaine.me. You go to workwithcharmaine.me and you pick up that free case study. And it's going to tell you how to get out of overwhelm hell without adding on extra shit to do in your life. That's what it's going to do. It's going to help you to get out of overwhelm hell and to help you to learn what I'm talking about today is how to get rid of some of these things that are distracting you. So yeah, you could do it by yourself. You could. But how's that working out for you? It's November 4th. What did you commit to doing by yourself in 2021? That shit, it still ain't done. Hell, you ain't even made it past step number 1. What is that thing for you? Where's that showing up for you? Where do you need support at? It's okay to get support. It is okay to get help. Don't be on the struggle bus forever. Your life is too fabulous. You have too much life to live for you to be trying to do it all on your own. So don't forget to download that free case study, workwithcharmaine.me. Be on the lookout for parts 2 and 3 of this series, of this little quickie series, and learn the other 2 things that are keeping you stuck in overwhelm. Being distracted is one of them. Being distracted. How do you get out of distraction? Grab that. Work with Charmaine.me. Grab that and learn how you can. All right. Well, you all have a fabulous rest of your Thursday. I'm about to go educate the children, and I will see you soon. Love yourself, love your family, love your business in that order. And I'll talk to you later. Bye. As soon as I find the end button. Don't I always have the darndest time finding the end broadcast button, y'all? Like my mouse be every place else. I'm always trying to find that end broadcast. All right. Bye.